As we approach the end of 2025, Frontier has slipped in yet another big update and DLC for Planet Coaster 2. Indeed, Update 8's bringing some management tweaks, a seasonal weather system, animatronic scaling, coaster track tweaks, re-edition of some of the in-game blueprints from Planet Coaster 1, and also re-edition of the concrete wall piece from the original 2. And yeah, it's just a concrete wall, but you wouldn't believe how happy that makes me that this is back. Anyway, best of all, coinciding with the December release, Update 8 also sees the return of the Festive theme from Planet Coaster 1. So to celebrate this, I've pulled together a couple of Festive blueprints during the early access window. This one is a winter market, along the lines of the European Christmas market you see popping up all over the place this time of year. Within this, I've got a restaurant set up within this building here, and that's serving these tables out front. I've also set up some concession stands, and this is made to look like those pop-up cabins you get in these Christmas markets. So I've got a food stall, a drink stall, there's a gift shop, and there's also an information counter as well. The counters work really well to set them up inside something like this. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's had this idea to make them out like this. Probably hundreds are going to be on the workshop within a few days, I reckon. But yeah, this is my take on it. Oh, and there is a toilet as well in here. If people are eating and drinking, they're obviously going to need the bathroom afterwards. So hidden away in this building, there is a toilet as well. All the buildings at the back of this blueprint, there's no functionality with these. They are literally there to look pretty. And to set the scene, got very carried away with the Christmas theming here, I think. But yeah, if there's a time to go overboard, then festive season is definitely it, isn't it? Anyway, playing around with these traditional European buildings, it gave me an idea for another blueprint, which is a ride skin. So let's jump across to that one. This is a ride skin I've made for a Festive Teacups ride. I've repurposed the non-functional buildings from the Festive market, and these are set up as a backdrop for the ride. General idea here is the Christmas peppermint sweets, which we now have in game thanks to the Festive theme. Maybe pushing it a little bit, but my general thought is it's not too far of a stretch to tie this in with peppermint tea, so this is a peppermint teacups ride. Did run into a slight problem theming this ride. I wanted a big Christmas tree in the centre, and I wanted that to rotate on the centre platform of the ride. Now, the Christmas trees that come with the Festive theme from Planet Coaster 1, they didn't really fit the bill. I think we do have to appreciate that some of the assets from Planet Coaster 1, while I think it's fantastic that these are being added into Planet Coaster 2, I think it's worth remembering that these pieces weren't meant to be scaled. I'm finding if you're scaling down, then it's not such a problem, but when you come to scale something up, that's when it can look a little off because it's an old asset. I am cautious about that when I'm building something with the original Planet Coaster pieces. And yeah, I have used the trees as a backdrop in both of these blueprints. It was only when I was getting to theming up the ride that I was having an issue. Now, to resolve this, an alternative solution could be to use the Planet Coaster 2 spruce trees. But, and this is one of my only wishes for a tweak in the game, the foliage in Planet Coaster 2 is constantly on the move. Every single plant twitches back and forth to represent movement with the wind. Problem is, you can't turn this off, so incorporating it as part of a ride, when the ride has its own movement as well, yeah, it doesn't work. I've found as a realistic outdoor decoration, the plants are fine, the movement is fine, but if you're incorporating foliage as part of a ride, or in an indoor setting, the movement is just a pain. One of my big wishes for the game would be to have an option to toggle foliage moving on or off. Hey ho, we don't have that, so instead I came up with my own tree design, which I made out of art shapes. I could size this exactly how I needed it, and it fit in better at this scale than using the in-game Christmas trees. Only problem is the massive hit on piece count. This ride skin is very heavy on the piece count, just over 3,000 pieces in total, and no joke, almost half of that is for this one tree. Fun. Hey ho, I think it was worth it because end of the day I've got out of it a blueprint that I'm happy with. And yep, that's my delve back into the Festive theme. Should take a look at them in the dark though before we move on to see all the lights in action. So change this to nighttime. And there we go. Now that's what I remember from the Festive theme, all the lights. I won't lie, setting up this extensive lighting That was pretty fiddly and it took forever. You've got hitbox galore when you're trying to squeeze in a tiny fairy light into the hitbox of a tiny window. If you make a mistake, then you're screwed. Your only option is to Alt Z to go back a step and then try again. And believe me, that did happen a few times. Well worth it though. Had fun working on this week. Anyway, that's the festive stuff, but there is more stuff to check out, so let's change this back to daylight again. Alongside Update 8, we've got a shiny new DLC, the Toybox Pack. First of all, the pieces are really sweet. Oh, and a fun fact here. There was a thread ages ago on Reddit about people's DLC wishlist. My suggestion was a kids-focused DLC, so I was thinking oversized toys, blocks, and big primary colours everywhere, and don't you know it, here we are, and it's in the game. Would love to think that my suggestion was noted down somewhere back then. The reality is, it's an easy win and an obvious theme for the game. I doubt I had any influence on that, but wouldn't it be fun if I had? We'll never know. Anyway, Toybox Pack theming has been implemented really well. There's some lovely pieces with the pack, very well put together and so creative. Once again, in terms of the in-game blueprints, Frontier has outdone themselves. I remember I was really impressed with the Sorcery Pack blueprints, but the Toybox Pack blueprints are another level. What I tend to do with the new packs is I lay all the pieces out on the grass, have a good look at them, and that usually sparks an idea of what I can create in terms of buildings and rides and stuff. Toybox Pack, I will admit I was struggling a bit. I could visualise what pieces go together, but in terms of buildings and functional stuff, I was struggling with that. Problem solved with the in-game blueprints. The Frontier collection has it all. I mean, who came up with a cardboard city hall or the parking garage? It's so good. Give that person a medal. I challenge anyone to come up with a better representation of a kid's cardboard town than this. I doubt many can. Theming aside, the pack also adds 2 new coasters and 3 flat rides. The coasters are great, and this small kid coaster in particular fits really well with the toy box theme. My only slight reservation would be with the choice of the flat rides for this pack. We've got a new drop ride, a swinging arm type ride, and a wave simulator. Now, wave simulator is going to be a big hit with the community for sure. It is something new for water parks, but putting this in a kids theme pack though, my thought is this would fit better in, say, a summer DLC or a sports focus pack or something. No complaints though, this is obviously going to be a popular ride choice. The other 2 flat rides, well, of course any new flat ride is obviously welcome, but for a kids focus pack, would have loved to have seen new types of the gentler rides to fit in with the theme. By that I mean rides with low nausea and low fear scores, the likes of the Tiny Eye and the Big Wheels. Whilst these 2 rides are marketed as family friendly, they do have fear and nausea scores of around 4, which I think means that's more suitable for older kids and teens. Sure, that does still count, but with a lot of the theming based on, say, cardboard cutout towns, the preschool wooden blocks and stuff, would have been really lovely to see the addition of a new gentle ride to match the theming the pack is going for. Or even just a return of one of the older, gentler flat rides, which in my mind has got to be the Rocktopus. I miss Rocktopus so much. Anyway, we've got what we've got, and flat rides aside, it's a fun pack with heaps of potential. Normally on the launch of a new DLC, I'd get cracking on some theme building blueprints, like the restaurants and stuff, but I've got to say, with this pack, Frontier has done such a good job with the in-game offerings, I couldn't think of anything at the moment that could top what they've come up with. So instead, I've come up with a set of early learning wooden toy blueprints. These are all classic preschool toys that everyone should be familiar with. So, for example, this one is a number puzzle where you slot the numbers into the holes. Everyone should remember these. To create this, I used the number pieces as a template and added the art shapes around these to make the indents. So all the numbers will slot into the holes if you felt like lining these up in game. Practice your counting maybe. Every day is a school day after all. Next is a knock the blocks activity table, so knocking the wooden pegs through the holes. Simple. I wasn't thinking this when I created it, but this is really good to use as a tunnel or a bridge or something. So put a path through it. And yes, I have checked with my stone guests for scale. Guests can walk through here without clipping into the top. Next blueprint I've created is a shapes puzzle cube. This one took forever to build because of the holes. That took a bit of fiddling, so used the shapes as a template, then a slow process of adding arch shapes piece by piece around the shape so that you end up with the correct sized hole at the end. One niggle with this blueprint, because I'm using varying scale for the arch shapes, the inside is a little bit chaotic. Fix for this would be adding even more arch shapes to even out the ridges, but considering that would probably double the piece count on this, I felt it better to leave it as is, considering it's not visible from the outside all that much. Next is my take on the slidey bead puzzle station. Not entirely sure what these are actually called, so slidey bead puzzle station it is. I remember these were a staple in doctors' waiting rooms, but I don't think you see them all that much these days. Probably got removed during the COVID days, since I imagine they're probably pretty difficult to sanitize. Anyway, fun idea with this one, adding the animal wood blocks as well as the arch shape and marble beads. The animal wood blocks are flippin' adorable. I couldn't not add them. Also, little addition for this, I've put the animal stickers on the side panels and that indicates what paths the animal blocks line up with. So a little cheat code there if you're struggling to get the blocks to go where you want them to. Next is a collection of pretty basic toys. All of these were pretty easy to create, so I've grouped them up together because I don't think they kind of stand on their own, if you get what I mean. But together they work a bit stronger, so it's a pull-along caterpillar, pull-along train, and a ring stack toy. Last toy blueprint I've created, I love this one, it's a xylophone. I'd count that as another staple in terms of the preschool early learning toys, and I'm sure an absolute joy for parents across the globe listening to their little darlings bashing away tunelessly on these things for hours on end. Had to venture out of the Toybox DLC to create this one. For the note bars, this needed to be metal to be realistic, so I've used an aquatic metal sign for these. Also the bolts on the end, that needed to be metal to be realistic, as they use metal so it doesn't dull the sound. Closest I could get for this was a Metal Mythology column base, so not all Toybox DLC for this one, but it does still fit in well with the rest of the toys here. That's all I've been building for the last couple of days, and yes, Google search now thinks that I'm expecting a baby because I've been looking at baby toys so much. I do confuse it so. It's my birthday today, coincidentally, and yeah, I'm 43, so I'm not young anymore. But yeah, I've done nothing but search for reference of baby toys all week, and now all my adverts are for pregnancy tests and remembering to make sure you get vaccinated to protect your baby if you're pregnant and stuff. It's really weird. Anyway, I am definitely getting sidetracked here, aren't I? Let's get back to the pretend toys. So, this collection of blueprints I've pulled together, I've used these to create a Toybox themed ride skin. This is Toybox Tumble, and it's a board slide. Now, ideally, I was looking to theme up a very gentle ride, and board slide isn't the gentlest, sitting at around 3 on the fear and nausea scale, but the shape of the ride fits in so well with the Toybox theme. I figured 3 was close enough. So this is all of those preschool toys jumbled up together with a few additions to create the Toybox setting. I've gone with the cardboard backdrop, and I have got some of the toys sitting in the back too. So we've got the xylophone there, the numbers game, and the toy train going over the hill. Up front, the entrance queue winds around the floor. I'm very haphazard with how I do the queues at the front. I'm never neat with these, they're just a winding little path. Maybe one day I might get around to learning how to create those cattle pen type ones. For the moment, I just stick with the haphazard way. I suppose it works for a Toybox theme because it's all chaotic anyway, isn't it? Anyway, we'll work our way around the path and watch the trip hazard of the mat there. Love the mat in the game. Mat looks really good. This then brings us around to the ride station, and for that I've used the knock the blocks table. I did alter this slightly and changed the legs out for skinnier ones so that the guests don't clip through the table too much. The original legs were quite chunky and it was blocking part of the station. Oh, and originally for the ride station, I did have the xylophone as the roof here, and that was quite fun because when you walked underneath, you had like a rainbow of colours that you could see up to. But I was fiddling for ages with the legs because having to make it into the whole station, I needed a structural way that the xylophone would be sitting there as a roof. So I'd extended the legs out quite a bit, and it just looked so odd that I was like, no, put the xylophone in the back and replace it with the table, and it looks much better. Everything else slotted in pretty well, so happy with this build. Oh, and of course, the block towers at the ends of the ride. I have used the Frontier in-game blueprint for those, They do look so good. It's not like I would have struggled to make my own towers, but since they've already been made so well, I don't think mine would have been any different. They would have just looked almost the same, so why not just use what's already there? So yeah, that's what I've come up with so far for the festive theme and the Toybox Pack. Big thank you once again to Frontier for providing me early access to get a sneak peek at what was coming. I have thoroughly enjoyed checking out both themes, and from what I've played so far, I would recommend everyone check out the new pack. It is worth it. And if you do feel free to use my blueprints in your builds if you so choose to do so. They'll be up on the workshop as soon as I have access to upload them. When that happens, I'll drop a link to the codes in the comments. But until then, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next video.